In today's episode of the Motorhome Matt Podcast,
Motorhome Finance is back in court with some big changes for the industry.
We've got some Christmas gift ideas for you and another Alan Rogers campsite of the month.
And we answer your questions on trackers, rear view cameras and buying a motorhome without finance.
Welcome to the Motorhome Matt Podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights, expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans. And it's brought to you by thatleisureshop.com.
And we always ask you, but remember, please do follow on your favourite podcast app and make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Sponsored by arabasecreative.co.uk.
In this episode, we're bringing you some Christmas gift ideas all the way up to Christmas. Ho, 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 ho. Mince pies, mulled wine, and the relatives are coming round.
Oh, no.
What have you got there? Oh, Matt's got his sack out.
Deary me. Just be glad you're not watching on YouTube if you're listening. Here we go. Look, it's your favourite thing. Tyre and rubber dressing.
Tyre and rubber dress.
So, dressing.
Lovely.
I've dropped one. It's all going wrong.
No,
already.
I thought there was a funny smell in here.
The luxury body shampoo made a bid for freedom.
Oh, right.
So this is a range of new motorhome, caravan and campervan specific product for cleaning and caring for your pride and joy. We've spent months researching this stuff and we've had some professional valeters testing it for us and they love it, I have to say. We've all been using it ourselves as well. This was the first one we launched, the black streak remover, which has been really popular. Spray it on, leave it a minute or two and then give it a rub. If the black streaks are really ingrained, you may have to do it twice. It's phenomenal. It's really clever.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal. And it's all environmentally friendly stuff as well. So it's all very, very effective. Loads of research has gone into it. And in the bottom I found a pine cone and last year's stuffing.
The elves have left something behind for you.
Lucky me. So yeah, citrus bug remover. This is made of lemon. So you literally spray this onto those dead flies on the front of your van or your car and leave it there for a few minutes and just wipe it off. And the lemon does its thing. So there's no harmful chemicals in this one at all.
Lemon entry, my dear Watson. No, I'm not going to tell that joke. Yeah.
It's too late, you just did. So there's a whole range of cleaning chemicals. You can check them out at thatleisureshop.com and we're really proud of them, hence we put our name to them.
The most Christmassy one is the luxury body shampoo. It's not for your body or somebody that you've met on the campsite.
I don't think you're going to be making any friends on a campsite. The best bit about these, they're all $9.99, but you buy two and you get one free. So get 3 for 2.
So
Happy
you can
days.
get all these for 20, 40, 50 quid. A whole lot.
That's very good maths. Well
Thank you
done.
very much.
Yeah. Bargain. Maybe there's a whole bundle deal, I don't know, but go and have a look at thatleisureshop.com. And if you're thinking of cleaning your own motorhome, caravan, campervan next year, then absolutely invest in this stuff. Worth every penny, I promise.
www.thatleisureshop.com/gifts. That's where you need to be going to. www.thatleisureshop.com/gifts.
It's time for our Alan Rogers European Campsite of the Month, and I'm delighted to be joined by Alan. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Mark. Are you?
Mark?
Well, you keep calling me Alan, so, you know.
You've got his name on your T-shirt still.
Yeah.
How you keeping? All right.
I'm good, yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Great. It's nice to see you again, Rob. So, Rob, where are we going this week?
This week we're at Domaine de Logis, which is in Brittany. So you can either go direct to Saint Malo, and it's about an hour from there, or you could, if you're fancying the tunnel, then you can go from Calais, and it takes about 6 hours to get down there.
Yeah, I'd be going to San Marlo. Much easier.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
But not everyone likes the boat, do they, I suppose?
No, I suppose. The reason that we've chosen this one this week is because it's the winner of our dog-friendly category in our... Go for it.
We're going to do it. The Caravan and Motor Club. I can't do it. I got it wrong.
Caravan and Motorhome.
The Caravan and Motorhome Club. Alan Rogers European Campsite of the Year Awards 2023.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. The reason that we gave them that award, it's really dog friendly. The owners have got both dog and cat on site, and they're more than happy for you to walk around. If your dog's well behaved, which might be a problem for some people, if your dog's well behaved, then you're welcome to walk around without a leash, without your dog on the leash.
Oh, the dog on the leash.
The dog on the leash, I know. Yeah.
Well, that's us out there. Reg would be off.
Yeah,
My little
yeah,
border
no
terrier,
good for you.
definitely not in the well-behaved category. He'd be running away. So tell us a little bit about the site.
So compared to some of the other sites that we've discussed, this is it's a moderate size. It's nowhere near as big as some of the others that we've discussed. As we get further south in France, there's about 70 pictures, and it's really well set up. They've all got an electric hookup. They've all got water, and they've all got drainage. So people who motorhome caravan regularly will really appreciate that. The bar's really pleasant. I know you'll struggle to understand what a pleasant bar is. Being from Bristol.
Say pleasant.
Well, you don't get beaten up when you go in, so that's nice.
Not like the one I took you to in Bristol. Then.
Absolutely, yeah. It's got a really nice oldie worldy ambience, and the staff are all really friendly.
An oldie worldy ambience, so you fit right in.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah.
It sounds great.
Yeah, it's lovely actually. Obviously, given its location, there's one key attraction in the area. That's obviously Mont Saint-Michel.
Of course, yeah.
Have you been there?
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah.
Stunning.
How was the weather?
Wet.
Yeah. Every time I've been, it's been super, super windy.
Do you know what?
I nearly got run over by a nun there once.
What?
Yeah, it was so windy. We were walking down from the top. We couldn't hear anything because it was so windy, and this nun came hurtling round the corner in a little 2CV or something, and just nearly took us out. It's terrifying. You've got to be on your guard.
It sounds like some cheap movie.
Yeah, I know, terrible, isn't it? Anyway, you could book this site directly with Alan Rogers, or you could book the site directly through the Alan Rogers website, or you can book it with the Caravan and Motorhome Club. Should we do the incredibly complex pricing grid?
Go on then. Where are we priced in the Alan Rogers pricing matrix?
So it's about a mid-range campsite. So
go on. The mid-range is about what per night?
Per night, this is for two people on a pitch. It's about 35. Obviously, that flexes up, and if that's sort of a shoulder period price. A little bit less in the lower season, a little bit more in the higher season.
So around €35 for a pitch, and that includes two people.
That includes two people.
And that includes electric hookup and water and everything else.
The works.
Love it. So just tell us again where we are this week.
That's Domaine de Logis.
Brilliant. And if you want to find out more about all of Alan Rogers' sites, please head to mhmp.info/Alan Rogers.
So in the podcast this week, we're talking about finance for your pride and joy. Could be a motorhome, could be a car, could be a caravan. It's been in the courts again, hasn't it, Matt? Why exactly?
Yeah, this is all about full disclosure of commissions that are paid to an intermediary that's brokered the finance, or the salesperson or the business selling you the product, so them receiving a commission. Now, it's really important to note we're recording this a week before we release it. So if in the next 7 days something changes, we will need to update this episode of the Motorhome Matt Podcast. But we are following this very, very closely. So basically what happened is the Court of Appeal allowed 3 appeals by claimants who bought cars from a car dealership where a commission was payable to the credit broker or the dealer, and that commission was not disclosed to the buyer or expressly disclosed. So many consumer claims in county courts had previously been lost. So people had gone to court to argue the fact they'd paid a commission but didn't realise and didn't know. So this was a big surprise when the ruling came through, and it came through just a couple of weeks ago.
So basically when you buy something, the courts have now said that if you pay a commission on the deal, and you should know exactly how much you're paying and to whom.
Exactly that.
So it's no longer as much of a caveat emptor, but buyer beware. What the court has now ruled is that you should be given all the information. Just to boil it down to what the court has said, dealers and brokers owed customers a financial duty of care.
Yep, stating a commission was payable did not go far enough. So simply saying we are going to be paying a commission to this dealer was not enough. They wanted full detail. They wanted the exact amount of commission payable and expressed consent by the customer to agree to the commission should have been required and signed by the customer. So basically the customer signs a declaration that they are happy that commission is being paid.
Yeah, how much it is and who it's being paid to. So more information when you're doing the deal. And the liability on the lender for secret commission, as the court has expressed it, secret commission paid to dealers and brokers. So basically what they're saying is that the customer should be told if a commission is being payable, but the customer hasn't been informed. That's what they mean by secret. You're paying your money over, you're assuming it's all part of the deal, but the court wants you now to have much more information about commissions.
Yeah, they want you to have full visibility and agree to that commission being paid. So this has sent a shockwave through the finance industry, and this is not just about motorhomes or campervans. This is across the motor industry. As I understand, it affects people selling beds on finance as well. So this is a financial industry kind of what is it? Is it a blow? Certainly it's a reason they need to change and how they build their paperwork that you have to sign. So we got our friend Steve in from Creative Funding Solutions. Steve is a broker and a financial lender, and they are in all sorts of markets, from diggers to cars to horse boxes and, of course, motorhomes and campervans. And I asked Steve for a bit of an update. So, Steve, thanks again for coming down and visiting us here at the Motorhome Matt Podcast. It's great to have you with us.
Great to be here again, Matt, and thanks for the intro there. I would just add to that intro, we do actually fund touring caravans and static caravans as well, not just the motorhomes and campervans. We're a full suite of products.
You do indeed. Oh, thanks for pointing that out. There we go. So, Steve, it's 3 weeks since the court ruling, and can you tell us what is the update?
Yeah, it's been an interesting 3 weeks for the business and the sector in general, I would say. But I think most funders that we deal with are getting their heads around it now. With the exception of one, I think all are back open live for business now. Obviously, there's been a change to terms and conditions and processes at funders' ends while they're getting an understanding of this ruling in place. But they're pretty much there now with the correct documentation, which they clearly has to go through their legal teams, making sure everything's compliant in light of the recent court ruling. But we're back open for business, and I think it's only a matter of time now before this whole process becomes sort of normalised.
So as I understand it, the key difference then is that as a broker, you broker the finance, so you don't lend the money from your own bank, as it were.
Correct.
You introduce the customer to the lender.
Correct.
And sit as that middleman, and you take a commission for doing that.
We do indeed.
And I think it's well accepted, and I have to say, you do very well communicate that you are charging and going to receive a commission. In fact, I understand you put it in writing and you actually record a telephone conversation with the customer, the borrower, the fact that you're getting this commission. But the key thing here that's gone through the court is that you've never declared how much commission in pounds and pence you're getting. Is that right?
That's exactly right. And yes, we do. Every regulated customer gets a phone call saying that we do earn a commission. And I think most of our customers are understanding of that. We're not the dealer. We don't earn a commission from the metal profit in the motorhome, the car. So that is our entire income stream. So I think most customers are cognizant of that, particularly after we've spoken to them about it, and it's clearly in our documentation as well. But yeah, we make very sure that the customer is aware that a commission is payable as part of the process. But according to the ruling, just making the customer aware, be that in written or verbal, didn't go far enough, as you say. It has to be expressly shown in a pounds and pence amount and as a percentage of the amount that they borrowed.
And presumably how it was calculated as well, wasn't it?
And how it was calculated as well. So the ruling takes that beyond what the Financial Conduct Authority's guidance was up until now, which was that there had to be a commission disclosed in terms of a commission would be payable, and it needed to be prominent, i.e. not just within the terms and conditions. We were doing all of that, and any other reputable broker, I would hope, was doing that as well, but obviously I can only talk on behalf of Motorhome.Finance. But that was all deemed not enough. So going forward now, a customer will be signing specifically to say that they understand the amount of commission that is within the finance deal.
So it's important here to note that you were compliant with the FCA regulatory body
Yes.
and the rulings imposed on you as a broker.
Yes.
But this judge has ruled that that wasn't enough.
Correct.
Now that creates two issues here, does it not? There's the point in time where the court ruling happened forward.
Yes.
So now, as an industry, you'll have to declare, yes, there's a commission, but now it's declaring how much commission.
Yeah, well, we've got no problem with that, but that is correct going forward, yes.
But what about the historical stuff? So this reminds me of PPI. People will all be familiar with that. What happens, this is going to go to the Supreme Court, and this is the key point that's going to be debated there.
Yes.
And appealed, is the ability for us as consumers to claim back that commission. That's your income. That's how you make a living. That's how you keep the lights on at home that pays you your salary. Is there a potential that for the last, 20 years, your business has to refund its income back to the consumers?
Yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see what the Supreme Court has to say. But worst case scenario, any commission that had been earned by a broker or credit intermediary could need to be repaid to a customer. Now, of course, the vast majority of credit brokers and intermediaries could not withstand such a request.
No.
And at that point, well, I think the industry's in a difficult spot at that point. Yes, the consumer may be able to claim funds back from the commission that was payable. You'll have the majority of the broker market potentially folding or exiting the market. It's unsustainable.
They'll just exit stage left.
Yeah, exit stage left. And funders directly as well may find that the consumer finance space or the point of sale finance space in general is just, in simple terms, too much aggravation. Huge losses that need to be paid back. So much regulation. If we get to that point, then on the one hand, a consumer may be able to claim their commission back, but it's a massive issue for consumers going forward. It will lead to a lot less consumer choice. 100%, and potentially price increases as well, as funders and brokers look to claw back losses. But let's wait and see what happens.
It's important to say we're not at that point yet, are we?
We're not at that point yet. There is a wide expectation that the case will be fast-tracked through the Supreme Court. Now, what fast-track looks like, we as yet don't know. Certainly, I think months at best, maybe a year, but that is just an opinion as opposed to anything we know at this stage. But as we sit here today now, funders going forward, following the new process of full commission disclosure, what happens to that legacy, many years of transacted deals, we'll wait and see. But you likened it to PPI. This would be a PPI on steroids. This one, if it came to pass.
Well, because this is not just about motorhomes, campervans, or caravans. This is about beds, sofas, presumably any consumer finance.
Potentially the ruling goes even further than that. It's suggesting point of sale finance full stop. So at Creative, Motorhome.finance now, just to be very clear, has taken the view that the ruling, and I think it's quite widely accepted, incorporates non-regulated business as well. So if you funded through a limited company,
as we do,
so that also is within this jurisdiction. So we are now disclosing full commission on every single transaction that we make.
So this is also then non-regulated. For those listening and don't understand what that is, it's a limited company borrowing money. You don't have the same protection as a consumer buying a car for your own use. So for me, through the business, we fund motorhomes, which we funded with you in the past. But this then goes into plant, machinery, some buses, lorries,
vehicle and asset finance, and all other types of point of sale finance.
There is a huge amount of pressure on that judge in the Supreme Court.
There certainly is. I think the way the Court of Appeal ruling was worded at the end, I think, suggested that it was potentially this was a case that was ripe to go to the Supreme Court. Whether the judge knew the level of turmoil that would be created off the back of it, I don't know.
Yeah.
But as it stands now, going forward, we've got a level of normality again, but time will tell on the tens of thousands, if not more, of legacy agreements.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, I just want you to just share with us what are the benefits of people using a broker for their motorhome caravan, static caravan finance, rather than going direct to a big bank, the big lender themselves. Tell us, why should people consider coming to you as a broker?
Lots of options. Lots of reasons I would suggest. One of them being choice. So we have a panel of many funders that we deal with, both regulated funders with extended term finance, which is obviously a very popular thing in the leisure vehicle space. We've also got a huge number of non-regulated limited company finance options as well for customers. So choice, I would say, is definitely a key part. Personal service, I think, is a big part of it as well. We talk the customer through the various options. We give in-life support of the agreement as well. Early settlements, we talk customers around the various options they have there. And we work with many motorhome, caravan, campervan dealers. We actually get quite a lot of customers that come to us and say, I'd like to get approved on finance for X amount. I'm looking for this type of vehicle. Do you have any recommendations? So we can put customers in contact with dealers that we work with and help them find that vehicle as well. So it's all about understanding the customer and coming up with a full suite of products and a personable approach, I suppose.
In my own experience, it is about a different level of customer service from your team, from Nicola and the team. They're just amazing, but they're so helpful, and it's a different level and style of service to going direct to a lender, in my own experience.
I would agree. And another thing I would say there is we service many customers who have slightly trickier credit profiles, shall we say, for whatever reason, and that's the type of customer you really need to get under the skin of and understand why there maybe have been one or two issues. Go to any of the main banks and literally will be the computer saying yes or no. But it's a customer like that where you need to get a bit of a fuller picture, and then present that to the funder to get hopefully the right answer for the customer. You won't get that level of service from a direct major bank.
No, absolutely. Well, I'm delighted that the guys at Creative are Motorhome Matt approved, and it's brilliant to have you on the Motorhome Matt approved directory, and I commend them to you. And if you're looking for finance, whether you're that person with some tricky credit history and you need some help to fund your next motorhome, then you definitely need to give Steve, Nicola and the team a ring at Creative Finance. Tell me, Steve, where do people find out more about your business?
They can go to our website, which is www.motorhome.finance. All our details on there, my email, mobile numbers on there. There's the Motorhome Matt section at the top on the banner. Click on that and you'll get some more information around the approved relationship that we have with yourself.
Brilliant.
They can work out an indicative quote and see what we've got to offer.
Well, Steve from Creative Funding Solutions, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your insight. We want to stay close with you on this in conversation. I know you're going to keep me updated.
100%.
But no doubt, as soon as this gets a date in the Supreme Court, will you tell us?
100%.
That's Steve Blake. He's the sales manager at Creative Funding Solutions. I understand the upshot to all this, Matt, is that the finance industry is going back looking at their terms and conditions, so deals are being done.
That's right, yeah. For a few days, there was a time, certainly a day, where there was no lending being able to happen. We had a finance application going through and it was frozen overnight whilst this was kind of worked out. I have to say, Close Brothers were very quick to respond and decided that they would create a page that the customer would sign, which would declare the commission being paid to us as a dealer and tell the customer how much, and they would have to sign it to accept it and acknowledge it. And they were very quick to do that. But other financial institutions, you can imagine, they're big corporate environments that this change has to go up and down the floors of several buildings before they can actually produce something that is part of their T's and C's. So it has been a shockwave through the industry for sure.
So, Matt, you're selling motorhomes. Do you have first-hand experience of this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, finance has been around on motorhomes for a long time. We call it penetration of finance in the market. Ours is really low. So traditionally, someone buying a motorhome has got a pension payout. They've sold a house, or they've got a lump of money, a nest egg of some sort that they're using. So our finance penetration is actually quite low as a business, but we're seeing that change, and motor finance is becoming increasingly the only way to a motorhome ownership because the screen price is so high. And for many people, they've got 40k, but the screen price is now double that. It's 80, and so they need to borrow. So I think we're going to see more and more motor finance deals being done on motorhomes and campervans, simply because that affordability bit, the ability to have enough cash to buy it outright is being taken away. And actually, there's some real benefits to putting finance on a motorhome because it gives you more rights. If there's a problem with it and you want to return it, then the finance company will work on your side to help you with that.
Now, the thing is, the court has ruled that the customer should have more information. So up until the last few weeks, when you've been buying a car or a motorhome or whatever, anything on finance that Matt has said, we've had this relationship, haven't we, with the seller, which is we know a commission is being paid. We don't know how much it is, but it's not been part of the discussion. It's whether we're happy with the price we're paying, we're happy with the interest on the finance deal. But I suppose now this commission becomes part of the negotiation, doesn't it? Whereas before it was just being paid, now the customer is going to say, well, you should halve your commission on that and then I'll buy.
Well, they may do. And of course, the negotiation in the past has been the screen price. So, you're buying a car from a dealer or motorhome from a dealer, they'll chip the screen price by £1,000, knowing that because you've said I'm taking finance, that they're going to get a commission and they'll be able to offset that, and they'll be back where they need to be on the bottom line. Asking for a tank of fuel or a set of mats or 500 quid's worth of accessories to go in the motorhome is a real cost, and so a dealer may not always be as keen to do that because they're out-of-pocket expenses.
It's coming off their bottom line.
Absolutely, yeah. And it might come out of a different budget, so it's a different budget within the business.
Yeah.
But when you're negotiating a screen price and finance is being taken, you've got a commission you can play with, which is going to offset that discount. And before this point, that was not always visible or even declared to the buyer that was happening. And that's what this judge has ruled in favour of, that you should declare, I am going to receive £1,000 of commission or whatever the number is, and also how it's worked out. So the more finance you take, the more you borrow, the bigger the commission. So when you go and buy a car, I think it's quite accepted practice, isn't it? As consumers, we know that the more finance we take, the more commission the car salesman's going to take.
But we don't know how much it is.
No, and we kind of ignore it. And we just go, oh yeah, they're getting a commission, that's fine. Well, actually, that can be a deal changer for them. And they're quite happy knocking £2,000 off the screen price because they're going to make it back in commissions. And they hit their target that way. And it's a motivator. In big car sales places, these car supermarket type businesses, the salesmen are targeted on finance to hit a number every week and every month on borrowed money, so the dealership gets that commission. That's a big income stream for the dealer, and one that as consumers we sort of ignore. Not anymore.
No, and we have done the bit of the dance with that as well, because sometimes when you go along, even if you've got the lump sum to pay on, say, something like a car, you'll always do the deal on finance and then pay it off some months later, because you're going to get a better deal because, as you say, the sales executive selling it to you is on a commission as part of that commission that you're paying the company, and it changes everything. But isn't more information for the consumer just a good thing, or have we now reached a situation where that little bit of bunce for the seller, and you've sold motorhomes, is now out of the question, and just the screen price is going to go up, and they're just going to say, no, sorry, that's the price, take it or leave it.
Yeah, but if that happens in the marketplace, in the industry, that's going to happen everywhere. So as a consumer, it doesn't matter where you go, you're only going to be focused on the screen price. And that's all the dealer's going to be focused on as well. So they'll be far more reticent to knock £1,000 off the screen price or whatever the number is they're going to discount it by. I think dealers have the opportunity, or resellers, to become more innovative. And we always try to be here where we list a motorhome at a price. It's listed at a price to sell at ideally that price. We don't put up for 50k and say, oh, let's take 48. We want 50k for it. But what we will do, people love a discount. They love to feel they're getting a deal. And if it's necessary to knock a bit off, and we will. But what we'll then do is say, well, is this your first motorhome? Oh, well, we've come from a caravan. Right, so there's some bits and pieces you are going to need to make this work for you. And let's save you buying that, and let's build that into the deal instead. So we might add in a hookup cable that they don't have. They sold it with the caravan. Levelling ramps for a motorhome, for example. Those bits and bobs you need, especially if it's your first one, then we might build that into the deal instead of giving a discount. And the consumer is still saving money, and they're still getting a deal, and actually we're adding value to it. So I think there's an opportunity here for us as a business and an industry to innovate. The challenge is for brokers, as Steve was saying, is they have to innovate even harder to justify why they exist, because what is to stop you just going direct and shopping around and buying the cheapest deal? Well, it's all about aftercare and having that person to ring up if you want to pay it off early or you're having a problem. That's when the broker will step in and have your back. And they'll be looking out for you and liaising on your behalf with the lender, who, let's face it, often is pretty faceless.
So stay tuned to the Motorhome Matt podcast on YouTube and on audio, and we will update you as updates come in. I must say, as with all legal processes, there is usually a position where you can appeal a ruling, and both lenders involved in these 3 cases have expressed appeal intentions to go to the Supreme Court. It used to be the Law Lords, now it's the Supreme Court. That is the last decision-making body. What they decide is going to be the law, and you can't go any further. The Supreme Court have got to decide whether they're going to hear the appeal, and so we'll keep you updated on that. But if it does go to the Supreme Court, then this could change, or they could just say, nope, it's the law from now on. But make sure you stay in touch with Motorhome Matt Podcast, because we will be giving you that information and breaking it down into easy, digestible lumps.
That's it. And also how the market responds to this, because we get so confused between flat rate and APR. It's all very confusing. The FCA have regulated this, and they'll be re-regulating it for sure. So we will be following closely, and we'll try and unpack it and explain it so it makes sense to you if you are looking to take finance on your next motorhome.
It's the Motorhome Matt Podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
And it's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com. It's our question and answer section, the Q&A. Our favourite bit of all the podcasts because we get to hear from you. First of all, John Miller Wilson is in the West Country.
Hi, Matt. My name's John Miller Wilson, and like you, I'm from the West Country, and I own a 2018 Swift Rio motorhome. My question is regarding trackers. We've shortly got the renewal for the inbuilt Swift-based tracker for the motorhome. Should I renew with the Swift tracker, or should I install a proprietary tracker? My thoughts, it may be the case that thieves have now worked out how to overcome them. So, should I renew, or should I go and buy a proprietary tracker? And if so, which one would you recommend?
Okay, Matt, which would you recommend then?
Great question. So, have thieves worked out how to break into a Swift? I have no idea. I really don't know. I mean, arguably, you could say that of any tracker. The first thing I'd be doing is actually checking, is it a 2G tracker or a 4G tracker? So our recent episode on this revealed that the 2G network is being switched off over the coming years. So if it's a 2G tracker, it's going to stop working. It will already not work in parts of Europe because they've turned their 2G network off already. So be mindful of that. Me personally, I would, once I've checked that, I would then make a decision as to whether I'm going to buy a proprietary one, as you put it. I would be looking at brands like GPS Bob. They're a fantastic company with a brilliant offering, very, very good value, and they're kind of turning the tracking industry upside down when it comes to pricing, and they do offer a 4G solution. There are lots of companies out there. There's brands like Global Telemetrics, Moving Intelligence, but I favour GPS Bob, and of course they are Motorhome Matt approved. You can find out more about them at Motorhome Matt approved. Just go to mhmp.info/GPS Bob and you'll find details there, and there's a Motorhome Matt discount code too, so make sure you use that. So it's a great question to ask. Arguably renewing your Swift tracker is going to be dead easy because it's already installed. You say it's a 2018 Motorhome, and just pay the subscription, but do check, is it a 2G tracker or a 4G? I would definitely be erring toward a 4G unit, especially if you're going to buy something like a 3 or 5 year subscription.
And if you're a new listener or viewer to the podcast, Motorhome Matt approved, as a list of goods and services that Matt is putting his name behind. So do go there, do check it out, because you can depend on the quality of the products or services that you're seeing. Okay, next question comes from Michael Harris.
Hi Matt, I'm a real fan of your show and watch it on YouTube. My question is about rear view cameras on a motorhome. I've just got my 5th motorhome and at last got the perfect layout for me, but it came without a reversing camera. Options, very expensive option is to get a dealer to fit one wired in, or I could buy a Wi-Fi or wireless rather camera and fit it myself. I would think it's only a couple of cables to the relay for a tow bar, I think, which most motorhomes have. Anyway, I would appreciate your feedback on that. Thank you.
Okay, Matt, DIY or pro fitting of a rear view camera?
So the first thing is it's a bit more complicated than just wiring up a couple of wires. You've got to install the camera, screw it to the bodywork. You've got to fit a camera either to your rear view mirror, run the cable all the way around the windscreen, down into the dashboard where you need to find a live. If you're going to go where the kind of process where the camera comes on when you put it in reverse, you need to either wire to the reverse switch on the gearbox or to the rear view lights. Now, if you're going for a wireless camera, that means running a wire from the back of the van to the front, which is not necessarily that difficult. You can run underneath and then up into the engine bay and into the dashboard. It is quite an install to do. I have done it myself. I personally favour a wired camera because they're much more reliable. The cameras, in my experience, are the component that fails, although the screens can too. You can just replace either bit. With a wireless setup, I think it's very subjective as to whether it will work all the time. I've used them and they are very successful, but I would always be worried that the connection's going to break. Handy to have a camera on the back of a Caravan. That's great to have a wireless one then. But I would say get an auto electrician to install it, because that's probably all the motorhome dealer is going to do. So cut out the middleman and contact a local reputable auto electrician and get them to install it. That would be the cheapest way and the most effective way to do it, and go wired would be my advice.
And how much are we looking at, roughly?
Probably a few £100 supplied and installed.
Supplied? Yeah. So that's including the gear? You
can buy a camera kit for £400 probably. You don't need to do that. We sell them in the shop for less than £100.
Right, okay. And are there any insurance implications for fitting a rear view camera?
That's a very good point. So, yeah, it's worth, if you have a rear view camera, it's definitely worth telling your insurer that you've got one, because obviously when you're going backwards, you've got much better visibility, and that may be a reason for them to offer you an incentive by virtue of a discount on your premium. Who knows? But it's certainly worth pointing out, yeah.
Andy Rudden's in Glasgow. He says he's got a quick question. How would a dealer treat you if you bought a motorhome for cash and didn't use their financial services?
That's a great question, one we've tapped on earlier today. I would suggest Buying outright is fine. You're doing what we call in the trade a straight deal or a cash deal. Obviously, it's not pound notes coming across the desk. It's a bank transfer. There are rules around that. But I would suggest if you are considering finance, a dealer will be more incentivized to reduce the screen price because, as we now know, they are likely to be earning a commission. But it depends how the dealer does the finance for you. So if the dealer is referring you to a broker, they are probably not going to get any recompense from the broker. The broker's going to keep all of the commission. So there may not be any incentive for the dealer. So it's worth asking the dealership, how are you doing finance? Many dealerships in the motorhome world are tied to Black Horse because Black Horse are the credit line for their stock. So they're having all this brand new motorhome stock arriving and it's sitting on a Black Horse credit line. And the more finance that they sell to you, the customer, the bigger that credit line becomes. So they're incentivized that way, and they will get a commission either in the form of an actual payout or a growth in their credit facility with Black Horse. So it's worth asking the dealer, how are they working with a lender? Is it just straight via a broker? Then there's probably no benefit to them. If it's direct to a lender, they are going to get a commission. So it's worth negotiating in with that. And as we now know, we're going to be told what commissions are being received.
Yeah, as the customer court case has just said, you need to be told all the information about the commissions, how much is being paid over to what, how much you're paying.
And the other benefit of taking motorhome finance is if you're buying a motorhome and it goes wrong down the line and you want to reject it and you've got good grounds to reject it, having finance on it means the lender will step in on your behalf because they actually own a chunk of that vehicle and they will step in and liaise with the dealer on it being repaired, or if you had to, return and reject it. So they would be on your side. But of course it carries a cost because you're going to pay interest for having that motorhome finance. But if I bought a new motorhome, I have always taken finance on it. And there have been in the past, over the last 20 years, brilliant deals around on finance, less so at the moment, I have to say, as interest rates have gone back up. But still, it's not expensive. So it gives you peace of mind. And of course, you're not tying up all your money in that motorhome. But when you sell it, of course, you owe some money back to the lender if you've not paid off the finance.
It's like having a mortgage on your house, isn't it? It's much better to spend somebody else's money than your own, even if you got it in the bank. But is it worth buying it on the finance and then paying it off if you've got the cash 6 months, 12 months down the road in order to avoid interest payments, which a lot can do? There's usually a penalty, and I assume that's going to be partly commission. But I've done that in the past with cars.
If it's a regulated agreement, so you're buying it as a consumer, so a man on the street, you're regulated by the FCA, the penalty is really limited to a month or possibly 3 months interest. That's it. But it's a regulated agreement, so there is not a massive penalty. If it's non-reg, so you've bought it through a limited company because you have one that you can put it through and your accountant's approved that you buy, or you're a motorhome hire business, it's a non-reg agreement. You are going to be paying off all of the money that you borrowed. So we have non-reg agreements here at Motorhome Holiday Company, and some of our fleet which we own is financed. We've got one here at the moment. To sell it, it's going to cost us £50,000. The van is now actually worth just shy of 50k. So we will run that for another year, pay some more of the finance off, so when we sell it, we're not in a loss position. And that's something to be very mindful of. If it's a non-reg agreement that you've signed, you can catch a real cold. But if it's a regulated agreement, you could take finance, negotiate the deal with the dealer on the basis they're getting a commission, and then cancel the finance. And the dealer's going to have that commission taken back off them.
So that's who loses out.
That's who loses out. The dealer's they're going to lose that commission. Now, there's a time frame in which, and you can ask the dealer, say, well, how long, if I cancel this, when do I cancel? Do you not lose the commission? And you could be kind to them. They say, well, it's 6 months. So in month 7, cancel it. They keep their commission and you've paid off the finance. But it does vary from lender to lender. So be mindful of that.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks for all the questions this week. If you want to get in touch, what should you do, Matt?
Yeah, please do. Just head to mhmp.info/ask Matt. We would love to hear from you. So if you've got a question, click the orange button there and record it. Please tell us where in the world you are, as we love to know. And if you're too shy to record it, just fill in the form and Keith and I will read it out for you.
And we've got a huge backlog of questions, so we do apologise if yours hasn't turned up yet. If it's technically possible to put it in the podcast, if you've recorded it, we will. But you also do reply to all the questions,
I
don't
do
you,
try, yeah. And if we've not had a reply to your question, please ask it again and say, I'm asking this a second time because I'm desperate for an answer, and I promise I will come back to you. So, yeah, if you don't hear it on the podcast, I am trying to answer them all.
And if you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure you visit the Motorhome Matt approved directory. It's at mhmp.info/approved. That's mhmp.info/approved.
And if you're watching on YouTube, please click subscribe. Hit the little bell as well, brought to you by arabasecreative.co.uk.